Koronaviruso naujienos. Jungtinių Amerikos valstijų maisto ir vaistų administracija įregistravo Moderna ir Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vakcinas vaikams nuo 6 mėnesių. Pranešimas spaudai 2022 m. birželio 17 diena. Kaip įprasta, tai yra skubioji registracija. FDA teigimu, jie atliko itin kruopščią, atidžią ir išsamią saugumo, veiksmingumo ir gamybos duomenų analizę. FDA nuomone, žinoma ir potenciali šių vakcinų nauda yra didesnė už žinomą ir potencialią riziką. FDA komisaras Robert M. Califf pasakė, kad mes tikimės, kad šios vakcinos mažesniems vaikams užtikrins apsaugą nuo sunkiausių COVID-19 pasekmių, tokių kaip hospitalizacija ir mirtis. Esminiai žodžiai čia yra mes tikimės, mes neturime duomenų, mes tikimės. To negana. FDA yra įregistravusi net boosterį, taip vadinamą sustiprinančiąją dozę vaikams. Nepaisant to, kad net vyriausiam Amerikos prezidento patarėjui medicinos klausimais Anthony Fauci teko pripažinti, kad jie neturi jokių duomenų išskyrus antikūnų atsaką.
Fauci, the government recommends everybody take a booster over age 5. Are you aware of any studies that show reduction in hospitalization or death for children who take a booster?
Right now, there's not enough data that has been accumulated, Senator Paul, to indicate that that's the case. I believe that recommendation that was made was based on the assumption that if you look at the morbidity and mortality of children within each of the age groups, 0 to 5, 5 to 11.
Right. So there are no studies, and Americans should all know this. There are no studies on children showing a reduction in hospitalization or death with taking a booster.
Būtent jokių duomenų, kurie mažintų hospitalizacijos, sunkios ligos ar mirties riziką po būsterio nėra. Papildysiu senatorių. Iš viso nėra jokių duomenų apie tai, kad vaikams COVID-19 vakcinos mažintų sunkios ligos, hospitalizacijos arba mirties riziką. Po būsterio jie neturi net duomenų apie simptominės ligos rizikos sumažėjimą. Jie turi tik antikūnų skaičiaus padidėjimą. O kai komisaras sako, kaip mes pastebėjome vyresnėms amžiaus grupėms, tai jis tiesiog meluoja, nes jokiai amžiaus grupiai atsitiktinių imčių kontroliuojami klinikiniai tyrimai, tie, kuriais remiasi vakcinų registracija, neįrodė saugos nuo mirties. Kaip žinia, Pfizer vakcinos klinikinių tyrimų metu vakcinos grupėje užfiksuota 15 mirčių, placebo 14. Tai kur ta apsauga?
What I want to ask, Maddie volunteered for the Pfizer trial. Why? Why aren't they researching her to figure out why this happened? So other people don't have to go through this. Instead, they're just saying it's mental. If anybody's mental, it's me. So today our journey as parents to help our daughter Maddie continues. All we want is for Maddie to be seen, heard, and believed because she has not been. And we want her to get the care she desperately needs so that she can go back to normal. Why is she not back to normal? She was totally fine before this. She did the right thing trying to help everybody else. And they're not helping her. Thanks.
Dabar paanalizuokime, kokią naudą FDA nustatė mažiausiems vaikams nuo 6 iki 23 mėnesių. Taigi, 64%, kuriuos maskuotų būdu stebėjo ilgiau kaip 2 mėnesius po antros dozės, palaukit, 64%. O kur likę 36%? Kodėl tik 64 stebėjo? Ir kodėl tik šiek tiek daugiau kaip 2 mėnesius? Na gerai. Jiems vakcinos veiksmingumas buvo 50,6%. Veiksmingumas kam? COVID-19 profilaktikai. Priminsiu, kas tas veiksmingumas ir kas ta COVID-19 profilaktika. Tie 50% rodo santykinės rizikos sumažėjimą. Sakykime, jeigu kontrolinėje grupėje COVID-19 susirgo 2 tiriamieji, o vakcinos grupėje 1, tai pusę mes apsaugojome nuo ligos ir veiksmingumas yra 50%. Kas ta liga? Tai yra bent vienas simptomas, pavyzdžiui, kosulys, gerklės skausmas ir taip pat teigiamas testas. Toliau tiriamiesiems nuo 2 iki 5 metų veiksmingumas buvo nepilni 37%. Ir maskuotą 2 mėnesių bent jau laikotarpį baigė 72%. O kur likę 28%? Dabar apie saugumą. Ką jie tenai nustatė, kiek laiko jie tyrinėjo. Taigi, stebėjo saugumą bent 2 mėnesius po antrosios dozės. Ir viskas. O kas toliau? O kaip po pusės metų? O gal prisiminsime vyresnių vaikų nuo 12 metų tyrimą? Iki šiol skelbiama, kad vienam tyriamajam po antrosios vakcinos dozės pasireiškė funkcinis pilvo skausmas, tam tikrų neurologinių sutrikimų, kurie nebuvo praėję baigiant rinkti duomenis. Tai yra 2021 metų kovo 13 dieną. Kas buvo paskui? Kodėl iki šiol neskelbiama, kad paskui ta mergaitė tapo invalidė, kuri negali savarankiškai vaikščioti ir maitinama iš per nosies skrandžio vamzdelį. Puikiai prisimename, kad vaikams nenustatyta jokios apsaugos nei nuo sunkios ligos, nei nuo mirties. Tačiau turime vieną mergaitę invalidę, kuri tapo neįgalia po antrosios vakcinos dozės.
So first, thank you, Senator Johnson, for the opportunity to share Maddie's story, and to all of you for your willingness to listen. This isn't easy for me, and this has been very clearly emotional, so I'm going to read what I've written so I don't lose track. My name is Stephanie, and this is my daughter, Maddie, and we live in Ohio. On January 20th, Maddie received her second dose of the Pfizer COVID vaccine as a participant in the clinical trial for 12 to 15-year-olds. All three of our kids volunteered and were excited to participate in the trial as a way to help us all return to normal life. My husband works in the medical field, and I have a degree in electrical engineering. We are pro-vaccine and pro-science, which is why we agreed to let Maddie and her two older brothers volunteer for the trial. Before Maddie got her final dose of the vaccine, she was a healthy 12-year-old who got straight A's and had lots of friends. She had a life. She was energetic. She was not like this. Although she does still have lots of friends. Upon receiving the second shot, Maddie immediately felt pain at the injection site. And over the next 24 hours, she developed severe abdominal and chest pain. And the way she described the chest pain, and I quote, "It feels like my heart is being ripped out through my neck." She had painful electrical shocks down her neck and spine that forced her to walk hunched over. She had extreme pain in her fingers and toes. It actually made them turn white, and they were cold whenever you touched them. She had edema. So my husband immediately took her to the ER as instructed by the vaccine trial nurse administrator, which is what we were instructed to do. Her blood was taken for a renal profile and tested. She was checked for appendicitis, which she did not have, and given an IV with some medicine, then sent home. However, in the discharge papers from the Children's Hospital ER that she went to, the diagnosis stated adverse effect of vaccine initial encounter. This would be the only time that was written in her medical charts, but it's in there. Over the next 2.5 months, her abdominal, muscle, and nerve pain became unbearable. She had developed additional symptoms that included gastroparesis, nausea and vomiting, erratic blood pressure and heart rate, memory loss. She mixes up words, brain fog, headaches, dizziness, fainting. She fell and hit her head, and then seizures. She developed verbal and motor tics. She had loss of feeling from the waist down and muscle weakness. Drastic changes in her vision, urinary retention and loss of bladder control, severely irregular and heavy menstrual cycles, and eventually she had to have an NG tube put in to get nutrition. All of these symptoms are still here today. Some days are worse than others. Our greatest challenge came when her doctors began to consider an alternative diagnosis. Well, she really didn't have one before, so it was the first one. So, like everybody else, she had lots of tests, but not nearly as many tests as everybody else, and she's a child. Why didn't they do this? All those tests on her. Sorry. So, because they couldn't figure it out, one physician labeled her as having functional neurologic disorder, saying it was due to anxiety. This concerned us, and we didn't agree with it because she doesn't have anxiety. Look at her. I mean, what 13-year-old can sit here calmly, okay, if they have anxiety or mental issues? At one point, they even tried to admit her to a mental hospital.